And welcome to the second episode of Indie to Indie, the series in which I cover some practical advice that I discovered while doing game dev myself. While the first episode of this series was definitely on the more advanced and technical side of things, this one's gonna be light. This time, I'll be covering the stuff I wish I knew when I switched from Unity to Unreal. I've created a project with some examples of what I'll be going over, and I've uploaded said project to GitHub, so you can download and peruse through it yourself to see how some of the stuff works. And I've also included a bunch of really great links in the repo's README to extremely helpful sites that I am constantly referencing myself while I work on my games. But before that, I have a couple important indie game announcements that I'd like to cover at the top. My friend Wababoy is kickstarting his game Sorceress, a fun imsim with creative magic mechanics that's a love letter to Dark Messiah. I played one of his older demos on the channel a few months ago, and I had a lot of fun. You can try the free demo for Sorceress yourself by downloading it from Steam, and if you give it a try, enjoy it, and have some spare change you can kick over to Waba, that'd be really cool. Like all Kickstarters, if he doesn't cross his funding goal, you'll get your money back, so it won't be for naught if he doesn't get fully funded. He's been working on Sorceress for quite some time now, and I'm hoping he gets the money. For links to the Steam page with the demo you can download, along with the game's Discord server and Waba's Twitter account, check the description. The Kickstarter is running until the 31st, so if you're interested in backing it, you gotta move a little fast. Second important indie game announcement, my other friends, Renoki and Gigatank, have released Wyvia on Steam. Much like Sorceress, I also played Wyvia on the channel a few months ago. Now, I have adrenaline brain rot, so I'm not the biggest fan of JRPGs, but I had a lot of fun playing Wyvia. It has fun, fast combat with some creative classes and skills. There's a lot of build variety, and stuff gets real zany, which is just an absolute blast to play. Just like Sorceress, there's a free demo available on Steam, so you can try that out and get a good taste of the gameplay before you spend any money. Right now, Wyvia is on sale until November 1st, so if you enjoy the demo and want to play more, it's a little easier on your wallet. And if you do play it and enjoy it, leave a review. Steam gates some diagnostic and analytic features behind review counts, so they really do help the developers. Again, if you're interested, the link to the game's Steam page with the free demo is in the description, along with the game's Discord server and Renoki and Gigatank's Twitter accounts. Now, before I start lifting off things I wish I knew, this is largely geared towards a Unity dev that's fairly comfortable with programming. I had a few C++ courses back in college, so I switched over from C# easily. But if you're unfamiliar with either C++ or programming in general, I cannot recommend LearnCpp.com highly enough. It is an exceptional learning resource that teaches C++ excellently. And if you need help with programming in general, Game Programming Patterns is a great resource. It covers how to structure your code to make things easier for yourself. You can read the entire thing for free online. Check the description for links to LearnCpp.com and the free webbook of Game Programming Patterns. Alright, let's get down to brass tacks. Here's the number one thing I wished someone told me before I switched to Unreal. Don't compile it from source. Unless you absolutely, positively, 100% need to modify the engine, do not compile it from source. It's gonna take up way more hard drive space than just downloading the pre-built binary from Epic. And then, my god, you have to build the whole thing. Maybe you got a 64-core badass CPU, but I only have 4 physical cores. This is a problem. I'll lose a whole day of development just letting Visual Studios compile the editor. And I know what you're thinking, oh, that's bearable, because I just gotta do one gargantuan build, and then all subsequent builds will be fast since Visual Studios will just recompile what's changed. Now, I gotta warn you, and pardon my French, but Visual Studios will shit the bed, and sometimes you'll just have to compile everything again. And that's a whole nother day of development, completely gone, wiped out. And then when you're finally ready to build your game, guess what? You gotta build everything again. Hope you don't gotta do updates quickly I'm begging you with tears in my eyes, don't compile from source unless you absolutely, positively have to. Next, the most important part to any software development endeavor, logging. Listen, what's the best way to debug? That's right, printing things to the console. It's what Grandpappy did, it's what I do, and by God, we're gonna all keep printing things to the console even after Mr. Musk puts chips in our brains. And this page of the community wiki covers how to do it. Next, lean into Blueprints and Unreal's actor component setup. I started off by trying to only use C++, and that really slowed me down. I find it's much easier when I combine the two. I'll write C++ code and then expose parts of it to Blueprints. This allows me to loosely couple my code, which reduces compiling time in Visual Studios, by the way, and honestly, it's easier to just make a game, which is nice. So, for example, when I started out, I would write out an entire actor class and the classes for the components that I was planning to add to said actor, then hook them all up in the actor's constructor. Big hassle, a lot of work, not wise. Nowadays, I still, of course, write code, but I make sure to make much of it Blueprint accessible, so that way I can use Blueprints more and Visual Studios less. To really illustrate this, I've created multiple actors that shoot out a projectile every half second. So, they all have the exact same behavior, but the implementations are all different. One of the actors is 100% C++. Another uses a custom component to handle the firing, along with a custom actor that times it. And the third, which is how I try to do things myself now, is just a countdown component and the firing component hooked up to each other in Blueprints. And I think this last one is the one with the most versatility, since I can change so much of its behavior in Blueprints. For example, instead of just shooting forward every half second, I can make it shoot another projectile straight up every half second. Hang on for a hot second while I set all that up, or I could add sound and particle effects if I had any. And to see how I did all of this, you can of course download the project from GitHub. Next, use Subsystems. I talked about them in the Boyd's video I made, so I'll be brief here, but Subsystems are Unreal's answer to singletons. Now I know, singletons are stinky, but you know what? In spite of all the amazing programming patterns, sometimes they're just too convenient. Subsystems are designed to ameliorate the shortcomings of singletons. You can even have subsystems that run some logic every tick. Say you want to keep track of a player score. Yeah, I'm thinking that's a subsystem. Maybe you want to keep track of the locations of certain actors that can move throughout the level. Again, subsystem. The beautiful part of subsystems, like singletons, is that different classes can of course access them, which make them a great way to supply the same data and functionality to multiple different classes. But unlike singletons, where those just exist, you can limit subsystems' quote-unquote lifetime to make them only last as long as a certain level, the entire game, etc. If we look at this UI element that's keeping track of balls fired, we see that I'm using a subsystem for that. And it's definitely way better than having to set UI text from the ball shooty actors and actor code components. And since I'm calling this Blueprint accessible event from C++, I only update the text when the actual number of projectiles changes instead of querying it each frame. And I know Unreal Engine has cool stuff like Nanite and Lumen for that ultra cool real-time graphics, but keep it simple. Have you seen the price of GPUs that can handle that stuff? So turn off ray tracing, turn off Nanite, and please bake your lighting. My god, I had a 970 until a year ago. Other than that, Unreal Engine has a lot of great stuff out of the box. Good shader graph for materials and behavior trees with blackboards for AI, which is just amazing. Animation is a little trickier, but if you put in the work, it makes sense. I also included a link to Prismatic Dev's YouTube channel. He covers animations in Unreal in depth. And finally, just some lightning round tips. When you pause the game, limit the frame rate, otherwise you'll turn GPUs into helicopters. If you want to rename your project, use this. The constructor graph is your friend. Anything you would want to do in a class constructor, why not try doing there? And finally, you can't have code warnings when you're building building the standalone executable for your game, or it just won't build at all. And that's it for this episode. As I said at the start, if you want to download the Unreal project I used in this video, the GitHub link is in the description, and that same repo has a bunch of links to really great reference sites that I lean on a lot. I hope you didn't mind the wait for the new monthly release schedule. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good day. If you liked the video, please give it a like, and if you want to follow along with my now once a month release schedule, please subscribe. The next video might be another Indie to Indie episode covering how to set up Blender to do a bunch of stuff other than modeling, or it might be a devlog. So why not subscribe to find out? There's also a Discord server where you can talk about game dev, math, or whatever. Things are picking up in there, but it's still pretty cozy. I might, stressing might, even do something special for Halloween if my internet connection is good enough. So don't be a stranger, drop on by. I'm also back-ish on Twitter, mostly just liking and retweeting with the occasional shitpost. But you're more than welcome to follow me there as well. I keep on saying I'll start releasing game dev related short form content, so keep your eyes peeled for that, because I'll try posting them to Twitter as well, along with, of course, as always, posting pictures of what I bake when I bake it. And speaking of baking, let's get to it. And this time it's ciabatta, and for those longtime viewers, you know, ciabatta used to be my white whale. Like, I don't know, because I think it's because you work it so little. Like, it's tough. It's like I'm too used to sourdough. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna shape it up real nice, work it, knead a lot. But it used to be my white whale. But look at this, it's looking good. It's looking real. I used a pizza steel for this, which I think it's a massive game changer. I think it just, you know, it's easier to use. It's easier. It bakes more easily with the pizza steel because I mean, you get hot bottoms, hot bottoms, hey, hot bottoms. And it just comes up so much better. And I checked my notes for this one, and apparently I was ballsy when I made it. This is 100% hydration, and I'm surprised if we take a look at this cross section, it turned out beautifully. I got a nice gorgeous crumb structure, real airy on this one, and again, that's because 100% hydration. So I think, it used to be my white whale, which is, it used to be real tough for me. I don't know why, honestly. I don't know why, but this one turned out great. And of course, it's a sourdough ciabatta, and it's also got some whole wheat in there, as you can see. Look at those nice whole wheat flecks. Yeah, whole wheat, baby. So that's even it's not even a little lower gluten. That makes it a little harder to make the bread itself, because whole wheat has less gluten than just regular flour, and even less than bread flour itself, which is again 100% hydration. That makes it tough to work with. But again, I think this one turned out real well. And again, since I did sourdough, that means I used my sourdough starter. But look at it, turned out real well. I didn't get a picture of the bottom, I'm sorry. But you gotta trust me, looking at the top, there's probably leopard skin on this bad boy. So, because I've been using the pizza steel, because it's practical. It's got a lot of utility. It's versatile. It's even great for when you're training a hike, because it's like 30 pounds. Just toss that in your bag. Boom. You're set. You're getting jacked. But anyways, I'm going to cut it off here. And I can use my classic sign off with a clear conscience. The yeast in the air is free. It's great. It's good for you. And it makes a great gift. It's a great way to show people that you care and appreciate them. And I care and appreciate all of you. Thank you, and I will see you next time.